All right, let's get into our next topic. A Quebec City elementary school has had to apologize after backlash erupted when, in an effort to be more inclusive, teachers plan to replace Mother's Day celebrations with Parents' Day. Do you think this was the right move?
Okay. No.
Audience
this audience, they're beautiful and they're smart. Okay, so of course, I don't think at all that it is the right move. The idea behind it was, I think, a very, very honest and pure and sweet gesture. There are a lot of kids at the school, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are some kids at the school that are foster children. Perhaps they've had a parent who has passed away, so they were saying that not only we're gonna change Mother's Day, we're also gonna change Father's Day. There was one woman who was interviewed who sadly lost her husband, and so the kids were, it could be awkward on Father's Day. But is the answer to ignore that a father or a mother figure exists? No. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for teachers and students alike to really start to talk about the nuances of something like a Mother's Day, because, at some point we may not all have our mothers. Some people who don't, but they have mother figures. And why don't we have that conversation of how to be more understanding and more empathetic rather than let's just ignore all of this together and run? I don't think that's the answer.
That's the thing, it's the intention versus the impact. I think the intention was pure. I think the intention was to have more of a conversation about broadening the idea of mother, whether it's, what sort of maternal figure. And that, like many things, got blown way out of proportion. I'm hopefully gonna have children with my soon-to-be wife. Do I get upset when there's a Father's Day? No. We're gonna have two mothers, but I think that the broader problem here was that folks felt like the idea of mother or maternal was being robbed, or the idea of femininity is being taken away from women, and I don't think that's true at all. I don't feel like my womanhood is being threatened when these sort of languages are broadened. I feel like it's threatened when it's taken away. I feel like the school had a really wholesome intention, and it was so quickly turned into something so much bigger. I don't think a lot of mothers in my life actually have a problem with just having Mother's Day or Maternal Day or Guardian Day.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm looking at you to project way down the road. If you have a child and Father's Day comes around, how would you hope that the school would handle that?
I hope that they would handle it and saying, the father or, paternal figure in your life, we're celebrating them, but, if you have two moms at home, or maybe if you're in a foster home, or maybe, if you're living with someone else in your life, just have a celebration at home. I think having a celebration for your father can also, I just think celebrating anyone in your life, but also not taking away the word father. And I think that that's where a lot of people got upset. It's like, one does not mean the other. One can live and the other one can as well. Just because we're having a Father's Day doesn't mean that people who aren't fathers aren't going to have important days as well. I don't feel upset as a mother, one day mother.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Not going to announce something.
But I think it honestly adds to a bigger conversation happening online about the word woke, and I feel like people are getting upset, and this adds to a bigger conversation. I was saying women get robbed of the word mother. I think that women's identities are being projected as being taken away, and that adds to transphobia. That adds to a larger problem of women not feeling like they're enough. And I feel like this is a school that just wanted to send out a message about Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. And it becomes this bigger conversation, this woke conversation that we don't necessarily need to have. And it's being led by the wrong people.
I think it's really interesting that you're saying that, because even though I hear what you're saying, Melissa, and you're a mom, I actually don't think that moms were mad about this. I think that the moms understood, many of the moms at least who were interviewed in the media, understood what the intention was and therefore weren't kicking up a fuss about it. It was non-moms, it was a lot of men who, was one man in particular, who was kicking up a fuss about it. And this conversation actually triggered some memories for me that I didn't have earlier. I was a child of divorce. My parents split up, so my mom went back to Hong Kong, and during most of my school life, it was my dad looking after me. So on holidays or occasions like Mother's Day, I did feel left out. I did feel awkward. And I did feel excluded. And so when you're talking about what the intention for this change was, it was for children, to protect children who may have been hurting in those situations, to not feel alone and to not feel excluded. And I think if anyone could understand how a child who was feeling lonely and motherless on that day might feel, it would be a mom.
Yeah.
So I don't think the moms were mad about this. And if it was happening in your school, I don't think you'd be holding up a picket sign, Melissa, and being like, you're excluding me, don't eliminate me from this conversation. You would have been the ones being like, oh, this is a good conversation to have. Maybe it was a clunky execution, but this is a conversation that needs to happen. So actually, I know that Mother's Day is about moms, but I think that moms are all about kids. And I would like the kids who are feeling lost in this conversation not to be forgotten, because I feel like I was one of those kids. And maybe if there were initiatives around when I was growing up and feeling a little bit left out, when all the moms showed up on Mother's Day because the kids had been making cards for them, and I made a card for no one because my mom wasn't there. Maybe if they're thinking of those kids like me, we wouldn't be in this mess. Thank you very much.
Honestly.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.